like that.
Thing that came up now.
So yeah, it will be interesting. I think Super League is probably a likely destination for him. I think he's had his problems outside of just this legal issue. I think he's had his personal problems over the last 6 months or so, and there was the allegations that were was it Kenny Daly was involved in some allegations of assault that were false, or deemed to be false from a court case and that sort of thing. So I think he's had his problems, and he might be looking for a fresh start elsewhere.
Possibly so. And finally, Terry Flanagan, Brian Noble and Natalie Gilmore have all been awarded an MBE in the Queen's Birthday Honours for their services to Rugby League. Flanagan, who was awarded his MBE for services to the game and local charities, started playing Rugby League as a junior for Saddleworth Rangers, his local amateur team, and went on to sign for his hometown professional team, Oldham, in 1979. He would go on to make over 300 appearances for the club, as well as gaining international Great Britain honours. A serious knee injury curtailed his playing career when only 30 years of age, but his enthusiasm for the game was aptly displayed when in 1995 he volunteered to coach the inaugural Ireland Rugby League team, who were taking part for the first time in the Rugby League Emerging Nations World Cup competition. In 2012, Terry became the chairman of the board of the Madlow Youth Zone in Oldham. Despite all the demands upon his time, he also accepted the task of being the inaugural chair of Rugby League Cares, a charity promoting the welfare, education, heritage and community development in the game. Through Terry's vision, the charity pulled together 3 former small Rugby League charities under one banner and has had a massive impact on the Rugby League community. Under his chairmanship, there have been significant increases in funding to a current turnover for the charity of over £1 million. The impact that the charity makes to individuals, communities, clubs and the game of rugby league has been immense and is now helping to change hundreds of people's lives. Natalie Gilmore was awarded an MBE for her services to Women's Rugby League. Gilmore, who was added to the to the RFL's Roll of Honour in 2014, represented the England Lionesses for more than 15 years and captained her country in 2 World Cups, whilst also contributing considerable time and work to promoting and developing the community game. Brian Noble was also awarded an MBE for his services to the game and is one of the UK's best known rugby league players and coaches. Noble played over 400 times for Bradford and Wakefield Trinity and captained both Great Britain and England. Between 2001 and 2006 he coached the Bradford Bulls to 3 Super League Grand Final victories. Under him the Bulls also won the Challenge Cup in 2003 and 3 World Club Challenges in 2002, 4 and 6. After leaving Bradford, Noble went on to coach the Wigan Warriors, the Crusaders and Salford Red Devils. Internationally, as head coach of Great Britain, Noble was the first British coach to defeat Australia at home in over 40 years. He now holds the position of Director of Rugby at the first ever transatlantic team to enter the competition, the Toronto Wolfpack. So congratulations to all 3 of them.
Yeah, also there was Dr. Phil Cooper of the State of Mind charity,
right,
who was awarded an MBE, which obviously that charity is intertwined with Rugby League. So credit to him too for what he's done to deserve his honour, and all these people have done lots of wonderful things, so they deserve to be honoured, and it's nice for Rugby League to get some national recognition for the hard work people are doing that is affecting lives outside of just what's going on the field. I know Noble's more of a within the game kind of
award, but
thing,
the two,
but he is pushing new boundaries in that with his role at Toronto. But the other guys, they're massive kudos for what they've done for the community of rugby league.
Indeed. Okay, that's the news taken care of. Let's take a look back now at the Challenge Cup quarterfinals. So, not Super League this week so much, but Challenge Cup pod, Mark. We start on Thursday night down at the AJ Bell, where Salford were the first team to book their place in the semis with a 30 points to 6 win over Wakefield in front of 2,808 of Salford's finest and a few Wakefield.
Paul O'Brien said, good win for Salford, game was over at half-time, Wakefield looked poor tonight.
Tyler Caspan said Salford dominant from start to finish, great with the ball and without. Wakey had no answers and no plan B. Even the ref was a bit generous in letting them off from being nilled.
Marwan K I'm guessing.
I suspect it's not him since he spelled it Marwian.
Yeah, said, in your face RFL, but if we don't get more fans than that to the semi-final, we'll be changing our name to Manchester United Devils and playing our home games at Piccadilly Gardens Stadium, which I will build with the change in my pocket.
There you go. Owen got in touch and said that was better Salford. Disciplined until the last 10 minutes anyway. Passionate, hard-working, controlled and classy. Welland was man of the match for me, but thought the whole team were great. Still missed Gareth O'Brien though.
Tom Baker, 1990, got in touch again. Thanks for staying on board, Tom.
Yes.
Hashtag now then, lads. How was that for a stellar performance? The Reds turned up with an attitude and desire we've been seeing most of the season. We dominated Wakey from start to end, and big Benny Murdoch-Masilla was back to his barnstorming best. I also thought Flanagan was awesome tonight. The composure and graft he puts in is invaluable. It's just a shame we have to wait another month for the semis. Up the Reds.
And Sarah got in touch saying, I feel I owe Wakey an apology. Once I stopped watching the match, Salford stopped scoring. Defensively, Salford controlled things and didn't give Wakefield any space to do anything, and any time they had any space they gave Keegan Hurst the ball to drop.
I forgot how much he made mistakes in this game. Thanks for reminding me, Sarah. Yeah. Wakey White said, turned up to this one expecting a close game, but Salford gave us an absolute hiding. I think we were in negative figures for metres made until the 30th minute. Rumour has it that Hurst and England are still embedded in the pitch somewhere. Wakey have done well this season, but 10 injuries to the lowest budget team was always going to create a mismatch.
Well, yes and no. I still feel like looking at the side that Wakefield put out, and with the results that they had been achieving, that they might have given a better account of themselves in this one, but Salford blew them away, didn't they, early doors, and there was just no recovering, was there, for Wakefield, missing a couple of people, particularly I think they missed Dave Fafita. But you look at the interchange bench, that's still a relatively impactful interchange bench with Craig Hubie on it, and you can't legislate for Keegan Hurst dropping the ball all the time.
I mean, Ash Gibson was a big downgrade on either Bill Tupu, who was supposed to play, or Ben Jones Bishop, who would play if fit.
Yeah.
So there was an issue there, and then but the two key men missing, Kermond and like you say, Fafita. No one else really. I mean, Miller, but Sam Williams has actually been playing quite well since.
I know Tom Johnston isn't there, but Mason Kane Brown's done exactly.
You can't.
Your point.
It's just like me with Wigan. I can't lament Manfredi being out of the side because Davies and you could at the start of the season, but you can't now. No, you could when he was first out, but then Mason Creighton Brown started scoring more than one try every single time he stepped on the field. He scored running for 200 metres a game.
That's it.
It's not, but it would be tough for Wakefield though. They'd like that is factual. That they're the lowest budget team, and there are a few serious misses there that we've just covered.
Yeah,
but let's be honest. This game was all about how good Salford were.
Yeah,
we challenged them to say they'll win this if they don't make the mistakes, because they should be able to win up front.
Yeah, which they did.
They didn't make the mistakes. They did exactly what we spoke about in our preview for this game last week about keeping the game fairly restrained in the sort of forward channel and not looking to get it wide until you've earned the position to do that, and that's exactly what they did in this game. And you can see even on top of that, they still had Lannon, Masilla and Kopchak scoring some of the tries.
Not to mention some of the ones that got chalked off as well. I think Wellham and Bibby, I don't know how to say his name, Jake Bibby, they both had tries chalked off as well. So actually it could have been a bit of a bigger victory for them as well on a different night.
Well, they were superb, especially in the first half, and it did feel like the game had got too far away from Wakefield, because you didn't see where the impetus that they normally might get from a Fafita off the bench would come from for this side. But you've got to credit how well Salford played. They hardly made an error in that first half, and that's what they've been doing so well all year when they've been winning games. And by doing that, by not making the errors, it gave them the opportunity then to start using their weapons. Greg Johnson returning to the side was a big boost as well, I think. I think he helped for them, because he's so enthusiastic returning kicks.
I love that.
And I don't think Gareth O'Brien's been missed I actually think Evolds is...
He's a very capable
as much of a threat, doesn't make mistakes. I think you can play either of those two players. They offer you slightly different things in that one's a bit quicker, one's a little bit more of a passer. But when you want to play a sensible middle channel kind of disciplined game, Evolds is a little bit more dynamic to come off the back of that than O'Brien, in my view. I think it worked well for them, the side they picked. Yeah,
absolutely. And the other thing that Salford have got for them is they can bring an Australian international state of origin player off the bench just to add a bit of spark to things in Todd Carney. So they've got this creative spine that's just really hard to legislate for, isn't it, as well? I mean, it wasn't around brilliant by Michael Dobson.
It wasn't. Yeah, I think Dobson was one of the standout performers, and I think as well, Kopchak scored another try. People have talked about how many tries Murdoch Masilla has scored this year. Kopchak
going back to business well.
I would guess, I don't have the number in front of me, but I guess he scored more than 5.
Yeah.
And his try took a lot of work from him to score. Murdoch Masilla was putting it through a good space. There was an element of luck to Lannon's that got it started, but you felt like Salford had dominated the game up to that point anyway. And the fact that it got to, when was it scored? The 7th minute, I think. They probably had two chances to score already by that point.
Yeah.
And they were completely dominant.
There you go. We don't have the stats packs for Challenge Cup games, so we can't talk about we can't interpret the story too much, can you? But is there anything that leaps out from the trade press for you just to draw our attention to on this one, Mark?
Well, no.
I thought you were zooming into the...
I was just looking at the lineups to make sure I remembered who was pulled out of the squad late for Ash Gibson.
I thought you had a little nugget or two for us there. So as I said, we don't have the stat packs during Challenge Cup games. So the only real stat that matters at the end of the day is that Wakefield were defeated, as far as Salford are concerned. Anyway, so on to Friday night then, and it was pretty much what you would expect, really, wasn't it? As Leeds ran out 58 points to 0 winners over the Featherstone Rovers of the Championship in front of 6,181.
Colin Render says, clinical and professional performance from Leeds. The best thing was Adam Cuthbertson's cameo at hooker while Parcell went off. He followed the play well and seemed to love the role. Looked knackered because of it once Parcell came back.
Yeah, it's a bit more work than he's used to, I suppose. CM Shepherd 1, not one I'm entirely familiar with.
No, but thanks for getting in touch.
Exactly,
even if you are going to bash the ref.
Indeed. Enjoyed the occasion, but not so much. The rugby, not too bothered about getting arseholed, and nilled, but that wanker in the middle, Kendall can fucking do on the bank get. Wow. Ruined the game. The bloke has no idea what he's doing in the RFL, are promoting refs way too fast who are not good enough. Need to bring back the refs they terminated a few years back, like Silverwood and Ansell, who were actually decent. A lot to unpack out of that, weren't there?
I can't remember too much of Ansell. I can't recall seeing him referee too many games. The wider point that's being made is one that we spoke about refs are being promoted too fast who aren't good enough. The circumstances are that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Kendall did not have the best of games. I would go along with what Mr. Shepherd is say. I had a history teacher called Mr. Shepherd. He was an angry fella.
Was he?
Yeah.
Maybe it's him.
I don't think so. But I agree that he didn't have his best of games. But we'll talk a little bit about more of that later on.
So who the heck is this?
Thai lad Cass fan.
Brilliant.
Said, workman-like performance of the Rhinos sets them up nicely for the next stage of the season. I'm calling it now. Salford Leeds semi-final up
the Phuket Pythons.
The Phuket Pythons.
There you go. Wow.
You called it wrong on the semis.
Yeah, you did call it wrong. Tyler Cass fan, the original and still the best, said, some tough calls for Fev in the first 30 minutes, but this game was never going to be close. They battled well all game, but Leeds had far too much to make this a contest, and it was soon just a question of how many they would score.
Rich Wilkinson said, solid from Leeds, in the hat for the semis, job done. The best part of it all was the nil conceded, which in any contest is to be celebrated. Respect to Fev, great club, great fans.
And final word on this one, we'll give to the Dr. Bob Phillips. He says the match results wasn't really in doubt, but good to see a strong Rhinos team playing well in slightly unfamiliar positions at times. Must pay credit to hooker Cuffbow, centre Hall and part-time fullback Sutcliffe. Plus, nice to see Ablett score again with his near 50-metre run. Hearts in the eyes emoticon. Yeah. It's what we expected, isn't it?